Racing takes place at the Vaal Saturday, the 10th of December. It is World Sports Betting Grand Heritage Day, and looking forward to previewing this meeting alongside Alistair Cohen. We do have the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage, the World Sports Betting Heritage Consolation, and the World Sports Betting Sophomore over the 1,000 meter trip. Alistair, good to be chatting to you once again. What's your thoughts on this meeting on Saturday?
Hi, Raheel. Yep, lovely to be back with you. Obviously, it's a standalone Saturday. The Grand Heritage has an interesting history, having started initially as the Emerald Cup, the richest race on sand, and there was always a lot of attention, a lot of emphasis going into horses that were not purely sand horses, but sort of trainers taking advantage of dual ratings. And the Emerald Cup was always an enjoyable weekend. I have many good and bad memories of the Emerald Cup. Obviously now the sand is no more, so it's transformed into, I'll hesitate to say, a gimmick of a race. 28 runners thundering down the straight. It obviously wasn't my favorite to call, but it's always a good, fun day out. And, racing on a Saturday at the Vaals, it's different to racing on a Saturday at Turf and Pen. Obviously, you get the local community coming out. Saturday's a nice day to spend out. I don't know if they've got any sort of Bri days factored in, but back in the day with the Emerald Cup used to be, and it was always a lovely day out. So, yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's a stronger edition of Grand Heritage than what we've seen in some of the previous years. And overall, there are a few now horses that are running on the card. So I expect there to be some shock results, but I think overall, punters could very well finish on the green.
Absolutely, and the exotics could certainly be the way to go on a Saturday. Now, it is a 9-race program, so no exotics begin in the first race. Race number 1, 10 past 12, that's the time you need to get involved in all your bets. 1,200 meters the distance, and at the time of recording, there's just one scratching. That's of horse number 1, Fiddler on the Cliffs, who doesn't take his part in this lineup. Having a look at the lineup, Alistair, we'll call it 7 to 10 in the market about horse number 16, Windwater. Now, last time out, terribly disappointing. I think I may have done the show with you on that occasion, and he looked to be the better bet on the card, and he found his stable companion, COVID Operator, too good for him. Grant van Niekerk aboard. He's drawn in gate number 2 up the lane. What do you make of his chances? The horse that they all have to beat once again?
Undoubtedly, the horse that will have to beat here, Raheel. I thought he was desperately unlucky last time, actually. He got done at the start and he had to take back and ended up in a position worse than ideal. And as you say, found a stable companion too good. The horse that ran third, Bowl first, ran a decent second last time. I don't think he's going to Hollywood, but he's going to win sooner rather than later. So I suppose that's some slight concern if there's not another horse that's upwardly mobile here. I think there is a horse that's going to improve and run a better race here. But I think 16 Windwater is as close to a winner without a penalty that you can find. Grant van Niekerk's in town. If this race was over 1,400 meters down the straight, I'd have a slight concern with Grant, to be honest, because the Vaal's tricky. It's got its intricacies down the straight, and I think it can be difficult to ride there first time, sort of 1,600 meters down that straight. But 1,200 meters is the same as at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. So 16 Windwater, a fairly confident first selection. I think the improver in the race is number 12 Global Heart. I know the form hasn't had time to work out, but I think overall the form will work out, and I expect some improvement from number 12 Global Heart. So happy to include him into the quartet.
Horse number 11, Don't Shoot the Barman now, but Clinton Binder had a runner just the other day in the form of Fish Eagle, who ran a fair race on debut but didn't manage to follow up on Summer Cup Day. Now this horse, Don't Shoot the Barman, in a 15-horse field, he managed to run 5 lengths off them in 5th position behind Siberian Steel, doing his best work late on in the day, and I think that the 1,200 meter trip could just suit him, so at 16 to 1 in the market could be another horse to include into the mix. But no doubt number 16, Windwater, the one that they all have to set their sights on in race number 1. Now we're going to move along to race number 2 on the program. 1,200 meters the distance, and this is the start of the bipot at the Vaal on Saturday. This race here, up the lane, fillies and mares, maiden plate. Favorite number 9 Celtic Rumours at 2 to 1 in the market, ran 4th behind Melek on debut, and we'll see Global Heart in the previous race. We'll see how that horse does go, and obviously if that horse runs an absolute cracker, then it will only enhance the form line for Celtic Rumours in race number 2. Calvin Abebe aboard for the informed Sean Terry Yard. Stable has come good of late, and I think it's a good time for the stable to be in some mustard form, especially with the Cape season just around the corner, just about to kick into full swing.
Yeah, knowing Sean, I bet he wishes his yard came to form a week earlier in time for the Summer Cup. But everything has fallen into place since then. And like I said on the show with Warren the other day, he's a world-class trainer, multiple champion trainer of South Africa. So it was a matter of time until the winners would start flowing. An interesting race this, because on Summer Cup Day when Celtic Rumours ran, I said to myself, well, next time that runs, you're not going to get a price. That can't miss. And here she is. She's actually found a pretty useful field. I think that she'll continue improving. I think that she is the one to beat. There are a few horses here that I have a lot of respect for. Number 20. Well, let me actually start with number 2, Splendid Season. I love that last run from Splendid Season behind Gimme a Light. Gimme a Light was somewhat surprising winner. But out of that run, there was Camerata who finished behind Splendid Season. Camerata, who she meets again. I expect her to have the measure. But if you go to the Southern Skies run, then this horse number 20, this well-bred Virgin River, has the edge of a Splendid Season. So I think Splendid Season's going to run nicely. But on that logic, I have to have a lot of respect for number 20, Virgin River. I know I'm not surprising anyone by telling you number 20, Virgin River is a big runner, running second to Southern Skies, albeit well beaten. She was comfortably best of the rest. So it's a tricky race with its pros and cons. There are a few well-bred first-timers. Numbers 10, Constitutional Hill, and also number 13, Kinky Boots, are nicely bred first-timers. So they could be anything. Watch the betting on those. 3, Memorial Day will get her a race, but I think she's found a strong maiden this time around, so I'd give her a place chance. I'm going to go with my instinct and say number 9, Celtic Rumours, is the one to beat, but I'd hesitate to go in light in the bar pot. I'd include the likes of 2, Splendid Season. I'd include one of the first timers nearer the opening leg of the bar pot. I'd check the betting on 10 and 13. Whoever's shorter between the two, I'd put into the bar pot, and then also number 20, Virgin River.
Just quickly before we move along to race number 3, this horse number 15, Masava. Now she's having her first run for Roy Magna, and Roy Magna, we all know how good he is with these sprinters. Formerly with Paul Peter, 3-year-old daughter of Visionaire. On debut, she was well beaten behind Rocket's Red Glare, who won by 8 or so lengths. And then last time out behind Queen of Smoke, I thought it was a fair performance, beaten 5.5 lengths in a 18-horse field. Do you think she's the type of horse that around 25 to 1 in the market could just bring a bit of a surprise?
On the form that she's got, yes, but also the first run out of Paul Peters' yard's a bit of a worry. Queen of Smoke has won again. Tried and True has won, that ran second. Princess Ilaria, down the page, Eastern World came out and won. Karen's Legacy came out and won. They were well behind Masava. So I can see Masava getting in there, but I think she might just be a run or two away from getting into the winner's box.
Okay, lovely stuff. And we're going to move along to race number 3. Race 2, it certainly is a competitive start to the bipod if you aren't in the camp of Celtic Rumours. But we'll go along to race number 3. Now, race 3, this is the start of the place accumulator. 1,200 meters the distance in this race. It's an MR 72 handicap, and they bet in 9-2 the field here. Timbavati River, After Hours, Give Me the Flame at 9-2. 5-1 about second breath. Alistair, what's your take on the lineup in terms of the place accumulator? I've had a look at your numbers, but take us through the race, and what's your top choice?
Well, my place accumulator is my suggested bet on this card. I like a horse here, number 5, Pinch Hit. I think that he's the value in the race. On the run on the 1st of December, I liked him. I thought he ran nicely enough. I'm willing to say that he'll come on with that run under the belt. The draw on the inside, I don't think it's too much of a concern unless there's rain. And Pinch It on that run finished behind Gimme the Flame, After Hours and Samoa, and in front of In Cahoots. But the handicap has done Pinch It a big favour here. So Pinch It comes in with the same weight, whereas all these other horses that finish in front of him have got extra weight to carry. I think Pinch It is the value in the race. He'd be my first choice with when I say no real confidence, I think he's a good each way bet in race number 3, but I don't think he's past the post. I think number 4, Second Breath, deserves a mention. Gabriel Peterson's riding well for Robin Klaas, and they're going along nicely. She mixes her form as number 4, Second Breath, but she could be dangerous. And then number 9, Timbavati River, dropping back to the sprint last time. That was obviously the office for him. He won with ease. He could very well follow up number 9, Timbavati River. I can see him being dangerous, but number 5, Pinch It, undoubtedly the value. I
have to agree with you. Number 5, Pinch It, certainly a horse that I've included into the mix as well. And he's surely going to bounce back to some of his better form, and now on a mark of 76. He's been dropped a few points by the handicapper, and he should be right there. Number 1 coming in hot, 7-1 in the market. He takes a drop in class, and I think he'll be extremely competitive, especially with 2.5 kgs off the back. And then horse number 6, In Cahoots. Now, he's an individual that I've been following for some time. It's been 228 days since that last win, but I think that he'll get a decent toe into the race, and I think that he'll be flying home late on in the day, and he could just run them off in the closing stages of the race. Matthew Thackeray takes a ride for Stephen Moffat, and this individual, he is distance suited, yet to win over the course in distance, but I think he'll give a good account of himself. 156 for me in the place accumulator, but as you have heard from Alistair, number 5, Pinch It, certainly the value in the first leg of the place accumulator. Now we're going to move along to race number 4, which is the start of the pick 6, 1600 meters a distance. This is a classified stakes where the best weighted column sees Burmese Tiara along with number 1 High Roller top in the charts. Place accumulator wise for me, Alistair, I'm just going numbers 1 and 3. Zuzan missed him last time out when he ran an absolute cracker at around 25-1. Quite a bit of support in the market, ran second behind Poets Warrior, but I'll be with him on Saturday, 7-1 in the market, and number 1 High Roller 18-10. She looks to be a horse that has got a promising future. She's already a 2-time winner from 8 starts, and she's going along the right way. So 1 and 3 for me in the PA. Pick 6 wise, PA wise, what's your numbers?
I haven't got those 2 horses in the PA, but they would obviously go into the pick 6. I suppose we have to watch the press whether Zuzan will run, because he just ran on Tuesday and ran a lovely race behind Poets Warrior. My 2 numbers in the PA are 2 High Moon and 8 Follow My Path. There are a few scratchings here. 6, 7 and 9 are not running, and I think that, thank goodness for that, because that actually makes the race a little bit easier. My first choice here is going to be number 8 Follow My Path. Was a good run over 2,000 meters last time and finishing behind Flag Bearer. I just hope that with the blinkers on, dropping in distance, that sharpens him up. I think if it does, I think he'll run a good race with a light weight. I think High Roller is a very, very smart filly by Patala Palace, but I'm looking forward to seeing her go 2,000 meters plus. I think a race like the Oaks Trial in about March will be tailor-made for number 1 High Roller, but just to keep her going through the divisions and in form and earning for connections would obviously be ideal. I put her in the race, but I'm going to race her home with number 2 High Moon. And my thinking about number 2 High Moon is that with Simango Kamalo on going down the Vaal Straight is such a specialist course and distance. It's either you can or you can't, and I have absolutely no reason to think he can or he can't, other than the fact that I think he's got the right running style to be able to do it. So I think I don't think that they'll line up again and High Moon will have the edge over High Roller, but I just think if it's ever going to happen, it'll be down the Vaal Mile Straight. So 2 and 8 in my place accumulator. Pick 6, definitely 1 and 3 go in. And I'd also be tempted to include number 4 Montmorency. It's a small field, and thank goodness for the scratchings, because it does make it slightly easier.
Well, the High Roller, you think they may fancy a bit of a dip at the Triple Tiara?
Don't know if she can win the Triple Tiara. Knowing Clinton Binder and the way that he thinks, he'll probably take the low road into a race like the Oaks. And I think the Oaks Trial, like I said, probably tailor-made for number 1 High Roller, and then probably take it from there. It's not impossible that by the time the winter season comes around, that she could be contesting some of the features down in KZN. And again, it's at that level, she's going to need to continue to improve and improve quite quickly. But it's also not impossible that she's got that improvement in her, because I like what I see. That run to Pyromaniac in September was a ripper.
Absolutely. 2 and 8 for Alistair, place accumulator, and for myself 1 and 3. That's race number 4 over 1600 meters. Now we're going to move along to race number 5, which is the Pinnacle Stakes over the 1000 meter trip. Get your bets on by 2. This is the start of Jackpot 1, and what a race, Alistair. Top quality individuals line up here. Bohica 4-1, Big Burn 4-1, 9-2 about Constable. Bartoldi is at 5-1 in the market. Place accumulator wise for me, I'm just going to declare my numbers quickly and then I'll hand over to you, Alistair. 3, 7, 8. My top choice in the lineup is going to be number 8, Vasim, at around 10-1 in the market. I think he represents the value for a horse that's course and distance. He's suited. Randall Simons gets a ride, 54 kgs on the back. I think that he's going to run an absolute cracker. I was pleased with his run last time out on a Summer Cup day behind Vars Vicky. He was far from disgrace, beaten 3 and 1 part of Valencia. So I think he'll go well at 10-1 in the market. And I'm just hoping that the inexperience doesn't catch the Andos Sisibo out on a big horse. This is possibly the best horse that he's ridden in his career so far, in the form of Big Burn, who's on a mark of 115. 4 kgs off the back. Hopefully he manages to get the best out of this 4-year-old daughter of Elusive Fort. And I think those 2 horses will go well. And then also horse number 3, Bartholdi. But for you, Alistair, what's your numbers? What's your top choice?
Comfortably the race of the day, Rahil. If this had Group 2 next to the title, it wouldn't look out of place. We've obviously got Group 1 winners in here, Bohica, Elysian Chief. Group 2 winner in the form of Smorgasbord, Big Burn, 1 group races. Really is a cracking event. Bartholdi is my first choice. The Aussies are flying at the moment. I was obviously considered a few in this race, but I just think Bartholdi is a different horse at the Vaal. Over this course and distance, he's won from 1 over 1,000 meters. He's 2 from 2. I think he's in good hearts at the moment. I think he won his last start over Vasim, and I hear what you say about Vasim. I respect him and I like him as a horse, but I thought he won a little bit easier in the margin suggested. He kind of just cruised to victory and could have won with a lot more in hand. So I think that he'll get the better of his half-brother, number 1, Bohica. Bohica is always a difficult horse to read. He's a top horse, but he can throw in the odd howler from time to time. And it wouldn't be surprising to see Bohica sort of have a prep run leading into the Cape Flying yet again, which is many people would probably not remember that it's only 6 or 7 weeks away midday. So a lot of these horses will be targeting group races to come. I think Elysian Chief is probably in the same boat. And another horse that I give a lot of time for is number 10, Constable, only because the horse that he absolutely thumped, and granted he probably needed the run still, Dice came out and won. And I give Dice more than the time of day in the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage. 7 Big Burners in the race. 8 Vasim is definitely in the race. I think the race probably stops there, to be honest, but number 3, Bartholdi, is my first choice. I just think that he's over this type of course and distance with a few other horses prepping. I think it's a cut out for him.
Yeah, certainly a competitive race, and it could be one of the better races on the card. And that's race number 5 over the 1,000 meter trip. Bartholdi, the top choice for Alistair, and for me, it's going to be horse number 8, Vasim. Now we're going to move along to race number 6, and race 6 is the World Sports Betting Sophomore over the 1,000 meter trip. And this race here goes off at 3 o'clock on the afternoon. Now, horse number 1, Karangatang, after his first 2 victories to date, he looked to be a very, very promising sort. And then he's just gone off the boil. He's just gone off form after that. Beaten behind Miss Cool, Thunderstruck, Faraway Winter, and Constable. He's been fancied in his last 2 starts. The last time out, he did drift out in the market. Could have possibly just needed that run slightly, 3rd run after rest. I'm sure that the team are hoping that he could bounce back to some of his better form. He is a favourite at 5-2, but the numbers for me, number 4, Set to Go. I think is a nice sort, this 3-year-old son of Erupt. He's run behind Anfield's Rocket, has got to catch the eye. 2nd last time out behind Constable. We see Constable take his part in the prior race, so I certainly think that Set to Go will run well. And then number 5, Now I Got You. I think he's a runner that will certainly run well in this lineup as well. He's on a mark of 106. Randall Simons takes a ride. For a 3-year-old to take his place in that race last time out behind Vaz Vicky, I thought it was a fair run. Maybe he could have finished slightly closer over the 1160 meter trip, but he took on some quality sorts over the 1160 and just back against his own age group. I think that Now I Got You could certainly run well. He is suited to the course. Randall Simons aboard, and hopefully he could go well. So 4 and 5 for me. Alistair, for you in the sophomore over the 1,000 meters.
Yeah, Raheel, race number 6. Interesting race this, because obviously it's the sprinting 3-year-olds. My opinion on Karangatang is that he was a very forward, precocious 2-year-old who hasn't necessarily trained on, probably needs a little bit more help from the handicapper to be effective. So I'm happy here with 2 horses. My first choice is number 3, Taikanaut, from number 4, Set to Go. I'm not really one for using times, but when times pop up on the same day and they race in the same type of conditions, then I'm all for looking at times. And Taikanaut would have finished the 1,000 meters in slightly quicker time than number 4, Set to Go. Muzieni rides for Roy Magna. Roy Magna is obviously a top trainer. His yard's coming to form, and he's especially good with his young sprinters. I'd love to see Taikanaut go a trip one day, but for now, there's no reason to change that. I think number 3, Taikanaut's the one to beat. His penultimate start behind a Pico is very eye-catching because, of course, the Pico ran close in a group race at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth a week ago. 4, Set to Go. All the horses that he met last time time at the Vaal on the 3rd of November, he's got hold. He finished in front of Karangatang and Mover and Shaker and has the edge quite comfortably on them at the weights. The only little concern I have with number 4 Set to Go is that he was carded to run a couple of weeks ago and got scratched. So I'm just hoping that hasn't taken a little bit of the shine off the son of a rup, but he is a nice horse. He's a horse that you can follow. But there is that lingering doubt in the back of my mind. And I'm happy with those 2 horses in the place accumulator, 3 and 4. And I'd put number 5, Now I Got You, in the pick 6 as well, on your advice. And also the fact that he ended up running some huge races with some top 3-year-olds during the KZN winter season.
Yeah, 3 and 4 for Alistair in the place accumulator, and for me in the PA, numbers 4 and 5. Now we're going to move along to the Grand Heritage race number 7. 15:35 is the time you need to get your bets on for race number 7. It's a massive field that line up here, a field of 28 runners with 2 reserves, 1,475 meters, a distance that you very seldom see. And this race here, the Grand Heritage, as I mentioned, field of 28. Favorite is horse number 7, Dice. Has found support, 7-1 down, 5-1 in the market. Muzieni rides for Lucky Hood Alakas. It's 8-1 about profit, 10-1 Irish Tractor. The numbers for me in the PA, numbers 4, Irish Tractor, number 7, which is Dice, number 13, which is Express from the US, and horse number 14, Paisley Park. Now, Paisley Park, he would be the top choice for me at around 16-1 in the market. He's an individual that I think has got tons of ability. Last time out, possibly just needing that run. It was a night meeting at Turbantain. He went for the inside run and he ran a fair race, beaten 4 lengths behind Savannah Storm. And I think he's a horse that would have come on tons with that run under the belt. He's a 3-time winner from 7 starts at 16-1. He represents the value in the race for me. Express from the US, he's a runner that is course and distance suited. Therefore, I've thrown him into the mix at 25-1 in the market, especially if he happens to run a huge race. His last start was a lot better to that penultimate run. And I think he's a horse that could be coming to hand once again with the Tyrone Zaki yard. Their numbers 4, which is Irish Tractor at 10-1. He's got to be given a huge chance in this lineup after that Charity Mile run. And then horse number 7, Dice, who's back to form. He's a top quality individual and he should certainly go well. He won the Amkumazi Stakes as a 2-year-old and then he had a lengthy layoff due to issues, but he's back and he's certainly back with a bang. So Dice certainly one that has to go into the mix. Alistair, looking forward to this Grand Heritage. You mentioned that it's possibly one of the more competitor Grand Heritage of late. And what's your numbers? What's your top choice if you do have a top choice here?
My numbers in the place accumulator are 3, which is Team Gold, 4 Irish Tractor, 7 Dice, 9 Profits, against my better judgment, I have to be honest, and number 14, Paisley Park. So I've got 5 horses in the place accumulator. The key to the Grand Heritage is looking for horses that enjoy the Vaal 1400 or mile. Like I said at the top of the show, it's such a specialist course and distance. Either you can or you can't. Now, number 4 Irish Tractor is my first choice. Funny enough, for the 26th of May, I was at the Vaal. I can't remember if I was calling or not, but I was definitely there. And Brett Crawford was in town with James and saw them. And I said, there's the winner of the Grand Heritage. And James being James said, no, you'll win everything. And I said, no, he might win a lot of races, but he'll win the Grand Heritage. So here we are, a few months later with Irish Tractor in the Grand Heritage on the back of a brilliant run in the Allard Steel Road on a Mission Mile behind Bingwa. Obviously, just in front of him was Puerto Manzano. And I've been keen on number 4 Irish Tractor in this race now for a few months. I think he fits the bill. I think he's the right horse for the race. And he would be, you can never be a strong selection in this race, but he'll be my strongest first choice for a Grand Heritage since probably the race was conceptualized. Number 3, Team Gold, I think has a chance. I think that even though he hasn't been too effective down the Vaal Straight, he has run a couple of races down the Vaal Straight, but those were a long time ago. I think he's a better, stronger, more wise horse this time around, so I'm willing to give him a chance because he's got the right type of credentials to be dangerous here. Number 7, Dice, I think pound for pound, probably the best horse in the race. Had he not missed his 3-year-old campaign, I don't believe he'd be rated 101. I think he'd be rated a lot higher and achieved a lot more. He was obviously a boom 2-year-old. Things went wrong, but it was great to see him back to life last time, beating a very promising filly in the form of Southern Skies. Like I said, number 9, Profits, against my better judgment, but If I'm of the opinion that the 3-year-old colt department is well above average this string, then number 9 Profit represents some of the best form on offer, so I've got to put him in. I'm not sure about the blinkers on number 9 Profit. I know that his work stinks at home. Maybe the blinkers have brought out some improvement, hence they're doing it, but his running style with blinkers worries me a little bit. They might work. But that's just my opinion on him. And then number 14, Paisley Park, very eye-catching last time. Good to see him back on track, because I know Lyle Hewitson loves the son of Gimme the Green Lights, and he's just lurked under the radar, and he could end up running a big race off a lighter weight than some of the others. Don't ask me for my pick 6 numbers, because everything's basically in.
A field race of 28 runners in the pick 6 here. That's possibly needed here, because it does look to be a cracking contest, a competitive race, but hopefully you manage to catch the quartet, and if you do, you're probably going to be in for a well-deserved holiday. Now that's race number 7. We're going to move along to race number 8, which is the Grand Heritage Consolation over the 1475 meter trip. 10 past 4 is the time you need to get those bets on. Banker in the PA for me is going to be horse number 1, Forever Mine, and I think you've also banked him in your PA as well, Alistair. I think he's a horse that they all have to beat here. He's a game front runner. I think that the course will suit him, and I expect him to be the one that they all have to beat. I think he'll be a tough nut to crack in this lineup.
I think he's the best bet of the day, Raheel. You know, there are 10 horses in this race that are under sufferance. So if the handicappers got it right, there are 10 horses in this race who theoretically can't win, or need to improve that, or need to run to a higher rating than what they've got, and some of them by quite a long way. Then the horses in the weights. 5 City by the Sea, I think, will need. 2 Warriors Rest, I think, has seen better days. 3 Reunion is so hit and miss. You can't trust him. 4 Admire Me, I don't know if she's quite the same class as number 1 Forever Man. And then number 6 Nordic Rebel would be my second selection, but I don't think Nordic Rebel can beat number 1 Forever Man, despite there being 8 kilos between them. So number 1 Forever Man, as you say, taken on much better. If he was running in the Grand Heritage half an hour earlier, he'd be in all my play. I just think that he sticks out, and I think the conditions of the race just suit him a lot more, and with horses out of form, him in form. Short and sweet, number 1 Forever Man. Be disappointed if he doesn't win.
That's race number 8. Number 1, Forever Mine, the top choice for Alistair and myself. Now we're going to move along to race number 9, which is the final race on the program. 1400 meters the distance. This is the Fillies and Mares 72 handicap, and place accumulator, I'm going with numbers 5, that's Winter Greeting, and horse number 9, which is a Scottadito. I threw Scottadito into the mix. I just thought this could be one of those lurkers on the day to run into the mix. This horse did run 11 days ago, was beaten into 7th position behind There She Goes. I think she's slightly better than that run. She is course and distance suited. She enjoys the Vaal straight course, and I think she could just run well with 55.5 kgs on the back. Corny Species certainly knows how to turn around his horses after a quick backup, so I think that she could just be a nice lurker for trifectas and quartets. But number 5, Winter Greeting, she was also impressive when winning on debut, winning by 2.5 lengths. She beat Open Company on that occasion. She's been given a mark of 80, and I think that she'll go very close in the lineup, and she's got to be the top choice for me.
So this is how I looked at the 9th and last race, Raheel. The 2 horses who are 1 from 1, they could be anything. They could be good. How good, I don't know, but the point is they could be good. But I couldn't do it to punters, and I couldn't do it to followers, to be brave enough just to go with 2 horses in all bets that are 1 from 1, and you don't know what they've beaten, especially that number 2, Gimme a Light, started a big price. There was no confidence. And number 5, Winter Greeting, I think beat a fair field, but the runner-up went off at any price. I think the horses who were 3rd and 4th are going to win their races. So it's just that was lingering in the back of my mind. So I had to look around for an extra horse, and my extra horse was very nearly number 9, Scottadito, but my extra horse has turned out to be number 10, Young Jackie. I'll tell you a little story about Scottadito. I've spoken to Marco van Rensburg about this horse, and he says, you know how good this horse actually is if he puts his mind to it, but he is just mad. So if he comes to the races and his head is screwed on right, he could very well pop up. But a horse that's so inconsistent and can lose the race before he's even turned up at the races is a horse that I can do without in place accumulator, but a horse that has to go into the pick 6 and probably worth a little. He's always probably worth a little each way punt every time he comes to the races, because one of these days they're going to pop up at 33-1, and you'll be very happy knowing that there's something there with number 9, Scottadito. But just with the bad runs, ride the wave. The alternative horse here is number 10, Young Jackie, ran far above her rating in her penultimate start to Moraine, followed up confirming a good run to Tulip Tree last time when having a bad draw and staying in very strongly. Now running in a straight line at this level, I think number 10, Young Jackie, probably represents the value in the race. I think the key to this race is if these 2-3-year-old fillies are above average, they should run first and second, but just these older, uglier, hard knockers might have a say, with number 10, Young Jackie, being my first choice of those. And another horse I wouldn't let loose in the quartet, number 1, Highborn Lady. I think she loves running well fresh, and she's good down the Vaal straight. Well, she's won down the Vaal straight, and I think that could stand her in good stead.
Absolutely, number 1, certainly one to include into the mix as well if you're looking for extra cover. Hopefully, number 9, Scottsville, can pull it off at around 25-1 in the market. I'm sure Alistair will have a few each way runs on that one. 4-year-old daughter of Master of My Fate. But if you aren't in the camp of the 3-year-olds that have just won their maiden, then you possibly have to go a bit wider in the final race on the card. Now we're going to move along to our suggested bets, and we'll start off with Alistair's suggested bet, and then we'll move along to my suggested bet. Alistair, take us through your place accumulator for racing at the Vaal on Saturday.
So, place accumulator starts in race number 3, which is a 1:15. I've obviously structured quite an expensive place accumulator. I've had to cut down, but on a day of this nature with big fields and a lot of races down the Vaal straight with the unpredictability that goes with it, I think punters need to play this a bit conservatively. So 4, 5 and 9 in the first leg, second breath, Pinch It and Timbavati River, recommending a good each way bet on Pinch It. But 2 and 8, High Moon and Follow My Path, think I'll get through there with the scratchings. But 3 and 10, I'm very keen on Bartoldi. I've got Constable as backup. By 3 and 4, Tyke and Autumn set to go, hoping to double up. Literally in the World Sports Betting Grand Heritage, hoping to survive with 5 horses in a field of 28. They are 3 Team Gold, 4 Irish Tractor, 7 Dice, 9 Profit, and number 14 Paisley Park. First race, number 4 Irish Tractor. But Banker 1 Forever Man, happy to banker him in my pick 6 as well. And then the final leg, 2, 5 and 10, Gimme a Light, Winter Greeting, and Young Jackie. But number 1 Highborn Lady, my quartet inclusion. And then always an each way bet on number 9 Scottsville. Am I confident with Scottsville? No, but one of these days she's going to pop up and make that each way bet look like gold.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Alistair. Now we're going to have a look at my PA. And first leg, I'm going 1, 5, 6, followed by 1 and 3, then 3, 7, 8, by 4, 5, by 4 numbers in the Grand Heritage. That's 4, 7, 13, 14 by Banker 1 Forever Mine. Looks to be the best bet on the card, and a horse that you can certainly banker in that pick 6. And then in the final leg, numbers 5 and 9, Scottsville being the roughie in the final leg on in that place accumulator. Alistair, as always, thank you for joining us on the line for this race meeting on Saturday. All the best, and hopefully we've managed to guide the guys in the right direction, especially for the Grand Heritage, and hopefully they can be in the winner's queue.
Yep, thanks, Raheel. Won't be easy on Saturday. It's a bit of a slog, but just to finish in the green would be a win of epic proportions.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Alistair, and as always, enjoy the call at Maidan this afternoon. To all the guys that have tuned in for this selection show, courtesy of Gallop TV, all the best, and hopefully you find all the winners.
Thanks, guys.